Hi everyone, welcome to another Q&A with Kareen. So this week's questions, and there are a couple, have everything to do with garlic. And so there's both a question from Laura and one from Erica. So the one from Laura asks, I didn't get my garlic planted for next spring before the snow came. What's the best course of action? So Laura, I would recommend, and for those of you who don't know, we plant garlic usually in the fall in early October, typically, so that it overwinters, and it's one of the first things that comes up in the early spring. But if you didn't get a chance to plant it in the fall, you can still plant it in the spring. Just know that the bulbs will likely not be as big as they would have been. So that's just something to know. The other thing that might be a concern is that variety of garlic won't have a chance to have vernalized. In other words, gone through a period of cold temperature. And so that's why planting it as early as possible in the spring would be good, because we're still going to have cold temperatures in the early spring. But if you can't do that, actually putting your garlic cloves in the fridge before you plant them outside in the spring will also do that same trick in terms of vernalizing the cloves. So you can do that. The other option available to you is, of course, you could just plant the garlic in the spring and just use it as green garlic rather than, hoping that you produce cloves and heads that are big enough. So I use green garlic all the time in the early spring because I have a lot of volunteer garlic that comes up. And so I use that the same way that I would use a clove of garlic. Chop it up. You can also make pesto from it as well. So that's definitely an option too. But all is not lost. You can still plant it early spring. Just know that it's going to take longer. So you're not going to be harvesting it in July. You'll be harvesting it maybe just a few weeks later, and you won't get as big a head of garlic. So I hope that helps. The follow-up, or the second question related to garlic, is from Erica. And she asks, I'd love to know what you recommend for mulching garlic. I don't know who sells organic straw. So I would recommend leaves, that you use leaves for mulching garlic, because there are very few places where you can get straw. If you have non-sprayed straw available, that would be my first choice, because straw has a way of kind of holding together so it doesn't blow away. But I usually use leaves because that's what we have available. And what I do is, if I'm concerned about them blowing away, I'll usually use some kind of stalks. So if you grew corn that season, or if you grew sunflowers that season or something like that, I'll just put those stalks on top of the leaves, kind of to prevent all of the leaves from blowing away. So that's what I use. You ask as well if you can use compost. So I wouldn't use compost as mulch necessarily. I just use it as amendment on top of your garlic bed after you've planted it. And then on top of the compost, I would put either straw or leaves. So I hope that answers your question. So let me know if any of you have follow-up questions with regards to garlic, and I'll see you next week. Bye.